All right. Are we good? Linda, Pam. Hi, Pam, Cheryl. Okay, so I don't know what happens over there, but didn't like something I did. Okay. All right. Sorry, you guys over there on YouTube. I don't know what just happened. So, all right. So hopefully we're good to go, and whatever it didn't like before doesn't happen again. All right. So remember to just do what your body tells you to do. Listen to the cues that you're getting. Again, you're alone. No one can see if you take a break or if you take a little side path, right? So let's align the heels to the groin. Take inner thigh rotation. So your inner thigh down, your outer thigh out of the way, making sure the pelvis sits upright. And again, if you need to sit up on a pillow to elevate your hips, feel free to do that while we're in the seated position. We won't be here terribly long, but remember to make yourself as comfortable as you can with whatever props that means. Right? So sitting nice and tall, lift the pelvic floor, pull the lower belly in and up, and then engage along the sides of the body. So we're firm and active in the core. Relax into your hips and shoulders as much as you can. Make your belly hold you up here. Close your eyes. And just take a moment to be fully present in your body. Noticing what feels good, what maybe you need to take a little extra TLC with here. And just remember to remain attentive to those sensations in your body throughout class. Become aware of your breath and just leave it do what it does, but watch it. Breathing all through the nose, begin to expand into that breath. So take your inhales a little bigger, make your exhales a little bit more complete. And eventually find a breath pattern that is just beyond comfortable. So making even the breath and not just a little bit of work or stretch, depending on how you look at it. Stay connected to the breath, stay connected to the sensations in the body. And let's go ahead and get moving here. So extend the arms out to the sides. On an inhale, we're going to stretch them up toward the ceiling. Exhale and release them back down to your sides again. Let's do that again. Let your arms reflect what your breath is doing here. When you're full, your fingertips touch at the top. And then when you're empty, those fingertips touch the floor. Let's go once more. Sitting nice and tall here. Go ahead and bring your left hand to your right knee, right hand behind the back a bit here, giving yourself a little baby twist over to the right. Check in that you feel rooted on your pelvis. We don't want the lower back to pop back. We don't want to rock one side or the other. Right in the middle with the pelvis. And then gently release that. Come on over to the second side. Same idea, just nice and gentle. And then release that back to the middle. Let's go to that first side again. We're going to make this one a little bigger. So use your right arm like a second spine, right by your bottom there. Push into the floor, sit a little taller. And then pulling against the knee, rotate the belly around, the side ribs toward the back of your mat. See if you can draw the shoulder back, look over your shoulder. Keeping the pelvis, take it to the second side. Same idea, use the arms, sit extra tall here, and move into a little bit deeper twist. Let's release and come back to the middle again. Still keeping the spine nice and tall. Go ahead and bring your hands to your knees. Inhale, draw the shoulder blades together on the back, lift the chest up toward the ceiling. And then exhale and round your spine back. Drop your chin towards your belly button. And then inhale, lift again. So just follow your breath in and out of those two poses. Get into those tight spots of the spine. And make sure as you move, nothing feels pinched up back there. Nice and long, lots of space between the vertebrae. We'll take one more flow like that. And then come on back to the middle, sitting really tall again here. Go ahead and bring the soles of the feet together. And we're gonna play with our toes for just a minute. You may or may not have to have had shoes on the last few weeks, but if you have, we want to stretch out our toes. So as if you would interlace your fingers, you're gonna interlace your fingers with your toes. So work them in there. And I know it's awkward and weird and a little tight in places. So do what you can do. Get it in there as deep as you can. Yeah, wiggle in. And so when you have it as good as it's gonna get, the soles of the feet kind of come back together. Your palms are in the way a little bit, but do what you can there. Sit up nice and tall. Drop your shoulders, drop your hips as much as you can. And this could be a really nice stretch in a number of places. So if it's enough, it's enough. If you want to bend your elbows and hinge forward a little bit here, feel free to go there. Keep the shoulders back. So imagine tipping your belly button towards your heels rather than bringing your face to your feet. Big full breaths. With an inhale, we're going to hinge it back up again. So especially if it was hard to get your fingers back there, try and keep your toes spread wide. Try it. And then release your fingers. Go ahead and extend your legs out long. Shake them out a little bit if they got a little stuck there sometimes when we're in one position. We get a little stuck. So make sure you're still upright on your pelvis though. If you need to adjust your seat, certainly do. Belly's pulled in, the spine is nice and tall. Let's go ahead and inhale, stretch the arms up toward the ceiling. Keep this nice long line of the upper body, hinge forward. And then let your hands fall, and maybe you touch your toes, and maybe you touch your shins or your knees or your thighs, whatever. Shoulders down and back. And just feel a nice stretch up the back side of your body. Big full breaths. With your next inhale, bring yourself back up again. And then release the arms. So let's come around onto hands and knees. And make yourself a little tabletop here. So the wrists underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Make sure your belly's pulled in, supporting your back. Four corners of the hands even into the mat. So if you feel like you're dumping into that outer wrist, press down into the index knuckle, the base of the index finger here. And if you want a little extra work for your hands, you can kind of pull back with your fingers, and keeping the heel or the palm of the hand on the floor, it just gives your hands a little bit more work. So if that's you, use it. From here, we're going to extend the right leg straight back. So heel in line with the hip, we want to press through that heel, make your whole leg work, make your glute work, feel your belly work, and then extend your left arm forward and reach away from the body in opposite directions here. Make sure you're breathing. And then release that back down to the mat. So let's go the second side, same exact idea. Left leg back, pressing through the heel. Belly's in, we stretch forward with the right hand. Reach away from the body, make it like work, not just kind of hold it out there. Really active. And then we'll release that back down. So come on back to the first side, extend your right leg and left arm. This time, take your arm over to the left, off the shoulder-ish, and the leg around to the right, off the hip-ish. Press through your heels, stretch through your fingertips, make sure you're breathing. And then release the hand, take the toes to the floor over here, come up on the left knee. And if you got a little cramp in that right hip, usually just bending the knee will get rid of that. So heel in line with the hip, we're gonna extend the left arm up and take it over the outside of the leg, opening up the left side of the body. Let the shoulder draw back, maybe look up toward the ceiling. You can support on the leg a little bit here if you need. And then we're gonna inhale, come on up again, and release the hands to the floor. So make sure the belly's pulled in, pick the foot up, take it back and down. So the same idea on the second side here. I'm gonna scoot a little bit so I don't kick my stuff. Extend right leg, left arm. No, left leg, right arm. And then take it out to the sides. Arm off the shoulder, leg off the hip. Release your hand, take your toes to the floor, and come up on the right knee. So again, heel in line with the hip here. If you need to adjust or whatever, make sure you do that. Extend the right arm up. I'm going to take it over the outside of the leg here. So right shoulder's drawn back. Big full breaths. And on an inhale, come on back up again. Release the hands. Lift the leg. And then take it back and down. So we're going one more here on hands and knees. And we usually go opposite sides with this one. I'm going to switch it up today just because. So extend your right leg again. This time bend your knee. So the toes are pointing toward the ceiling. We want to try and keep the hips as level as we can. But if you need to lift a little bit, lift a little bit. We're going to shift the body weight to the left, just enough to lift the right hand. So maybe that's the challenge. Up and down a million times until you can find your balance. If you can find your balance, take that right hand back and see if you can find your foot. Maybe yes, maybe no. Don't worry about it. You're alone. No one's watching. So again, the hips are as level as they can be. You can press the foot into the hand. You can lift the toes. Play here, because if you're not wobbling, you're not trying. Take another big breath. And then gently release what you got here. Back into that all fours. And you get to try your second side. And maybe the other side worked out, and maybe this side won't, or vice versa. Right? So see what happens. Extend your left leg back. And bend at the knee. Lean just enough. Again, if you lean too much, you fall to the right. If you don't lean enough, you fall to the left. So the left hand lifts up off the floor. Find your balance. And then maybe find your foot. Take your time. Make sure you're breathing. That's the important piece. It's all playing and seeing what happens, right? Take one more breath here. And then release that. Coming back to the all fours. And then nice and easy here, go ahead and sit the hips back to the heels. Take a child's pose. And just let your spine release here. You can have the arms extending forward or back by your heels. You can open your knees and fall a little bit deeper into your hips. You decide where to be here. Breathe, get comfy. then if they're not already, stretch the arms out nice and long in front. The hands are still shoulder width apart, the palms of the hands grounding into the floor. You can still be pulling with the finger pads if that's you. Let's go ahead and lift up and come to down dog. And just let yourself wiggle and stretch here. Get the body moving again. And allow yourself to sink into it. So we want to press out through the heels, press the chest back toward the thighs, get that nice big stretch on the back side, feeling your calves, especially here. Let your head just hang between your arms, pressing away from the floor with the hands as well. And then let's go ahead and lift the right leg, and we're going to take it straight back so the hips stay square. Pressing out through the heel. See if you can get a little extra extension through that left heel. And then release that side. Switching to the left side, lift the left. And then release that. Let's go ahead and drop down, take child's pose again. A little mini break, back to down dog. Here we're going to shift forward and come into plank. So top of your push-up, let your hips come down, your shoulders come forward. If you need your knees on the floor, you need your knees on the floor. Four corners of the hands even into the mat here as well. Shoulders down, nice and neutral on the back. So knees up or down does not matter. Hold here, make sure you're breathing. Press through your heels, feel your legs activate, work your glutes. Come on back to down dog. And once you do a bunch of planks, you love down dog. So let's do that one more time. Shift forward, hold plank. Nothing fancy, nothing special. Knees if you need knees. Nice full breaths here. And then back to your down dog. So let's drop down to the knees. Take a little mini break again. Just a couple breaths. And then let's pop back up into our down dog. We're going to add those two things together. So come to down dog. Make sure your belly's pulled in, support your back. We're going to lift the right leg. Again, keeping the hips nice and squared. Don't have to worry about high. From here, shift forward, come into your plank. And your left knee can drop to the floor if you need it to drop to the floor. The right toes don't have to be high. In fact, if you're too high, it'll throw your hips off. Back to down dog. And release your right foot. So switch sides, lift the left. Belly's working here. Shift forward to your three-legged plank. Right knee to the mat if you need it. And then back to your three-legged dog. Release your left foot and drop on down to the knees and sit back and rest again. So again, hands extended or the hands back by the heels, you decide. Make sure you're breathing. And then let's come back to down dog. And we're done with that, I promise. Well, for now anyway. And then step the feet forward, we'll come to standing fold. So toes to fingers. Feet hip bone distance apart, not too close, not too far. That's Goldilocks spot. Press down into the four corners of the feet. Make your legs really active here. And then bent knees if you need bent knees, certainly. We're gonna take the index and middle fingers, wrap them around the big toes. And if you can take your legs straighter, you take them straighter. If that's not enough stretch for you, take your elbows, bend them out to the sides, little pull on the toes will give you a little bit more. Release your toes. Bend your knees as much as you need, of course, here. And take the backs of your hands flat to the floor. So your knees might need to be ridiculously bent, right? It just is what it is. So all the way to the wrist as much as you can. If you want more in play here, come from the tips of your toes and pick up your right foot, slide your right hand up underneath it. Bring your toes to the wrist crease if you can. Same thing with the left. So you can effectively say you've stood on your hands today. And you can wiggle your toes and massage your hands. That feels nice as well. And of course, the legs can be straighter, more bent. You can bend the elbows. You can add on as your body wants you to here. So release that. We're going to slide the hands out to the thigh, so it does not matter if you can't touch your toes. Bring yourself parallel to the floor. Lean on the legs as much as you need to lean on the legs. Try to keep your hips over your ankles rather than sinking the hips back to make this easier. Right? Keep your alignment. Shoulders are back, belly is in, the spine is neutral, right? So from here, go ahead and bend your knees and sit back into a supported chair. So if your feet are hip bone distance apart, your knees should be in that same plane. You've got this nice alignment. Tuck the tailbone if you feel like your bum's sticking out. Okay. Hang on if you need to hang on, certainly. Come center if you'd like. Extend the arms if that's you. Big full breaths. Let's inhale, stretch to the ceiling. And then exhale, release the arms. All right. So inhale, stretch your arms up. Exhale, take yourself over into a fold. Inhale, come halfway up. And then exhale the right foot back into a lunge. So a nice big step back there. Wiggle around into your hips a little bit, wiggle them up. And then come center. Imagine sweeping your legs together up underneath the body so the hips are square. We're going to take that left leg straight or straight-ish. You can always drop your right knee to the floor if you need here. Shoulders are back. If you need to prop up on your shin or maybe some blocks, if you've got blocks, make sure you're listening to what your body needs from you. Take another big breath. Bend back into the knee. Step back to your down dog. Let's inhale, slide forward plank. And exhale down to the belly. Elbows tight from the knees if you need, certainly. Hands next to the side ribs here. Draw the elbows together, draw the shoulders back, and then just roll your shoulders up by your ears, together on your back and down toward your hip bones. Exhale to release that. Lift your belly and chest at the same time if you can. Make your way back to down dog. And then from here, step your right foot forward into the lunge. If the toes don't make it on their own, wiggle them up until they get there. Right? Left knee can be on the mat if you want. Wiggle around into your hips a little here. So shift and adjust at any point. Find the middle again. Sweep the legs toward each other and let's take the right leg straight or straight-ish. Left knee on the mat, prop if you need to prop. Keep the spine nice and long. Bend back into the knee. Press off the back toes, stepping forward into fold. Halfway up on an inhale. And exhale back over again. Come all the way up, stretch to the ceiling. And then release the hands. And we're gonna do it again. So inhale, lift. And exhale, fold. Halfway up. Let's step the left foot back this time, lunging. So left knee to the mat if you want it again here. Sweep the legs toward each other underneath the body. Let's bring the right hand to the hip. Rotate the belly toward the inner thigh. Imagine turning your right side ribs toward the ceiling, drawing this right shoulder back. Press through the heel. Extend out the crown of your head. And then release the twist. Step back, down dog. With an inhale, slide forward to your plank. Knees if you need, take it down to the belly, elbows tight to your sides. Hands next to the side ribs, slide them back. Roll your shoulders, little pull this time like you're pulling your belly button forward. And then release that. Keep the elbows in, up and back, down dog. And then let's step the left foot forward. Toes all the way to the fingers. Take your time getting them there, all the way up. Right knee to the mat if you want it. Sweep the legs together, bring the left hand to the hip and rotate around into your twist here. Press through the heel, extend out through the crown of your head. Releasing that twist. Let's step forward into fold. Inhale as you come halfway up. Exhale back over. Come all the way up, reaching to the ceiling. Exhale, release the arms. We're gonna do that once more. So inhale and fold. Halfway up. Right foot back into our lunge. Right knee on the mat if you need it. Sweep the legs together. Climb up on the left thigh and lift your upper body as vertical as you can get it. Pressing through the heel if the knee's off the floor. Hang on to your leg if you need to hang on, or extend the arms. Reaching toward the ceiling. Relax into your shoulders. See if you can descend into your hips a little bit here. Take one more big breath. And then release that back over to your lunge again. Step back, down dog. Inhale, you slide forward into plank. Exhale, take it on down. Hands next to the sides, roll, pull, maybe a little press into the hands, coming a little deeper to cobra, and then releasing. Back to down dog. And the right foot steps forward. Take your time, all the way up there, super important. So sweep the legs toward each other, drop the back knee if you need. When you're ready, climb on up. Come as vertical as you can. Support if you need, or extend. We'll release that, coming back over to the lunge. Press off the back toes so we step forward into fold. Halfway up with your inhale. Exhale back over. And then come all the way up, stretch to the ceiling. And release the arms. All right, so let's take a short little step back with the right foot. We want all 10 toes pointing forward as much as possible. If your feet need to be a little wider sideways so you don't fall down, take them a little wider. And then bend into the left knee, making sure your right heel stays on the floor. So the hips are as square as we can get. Shoulders are square to the top of the mat. Let's reach the arms. So just a little bit different variation of where we just were, essentially. Keep the shoulders relaxing. From here, take your fingers. We're going to interlace them behind the lower back. Drawing the shoulder blades toward each other on the back. Let your chest open and lift like crazy here. And then stretch the knuckles back towards your right heel. So the front of your body is really open. We're going to keep that idea, but then bring your belly toward the left thigh. So shoulders draw together, hands might lift up off of your lower back. That's fine or not. Take your time with your balance here. See about maybe taking your left leg a little straighter. Try not to lock the knee, of course. Keep your hips square, your shoulders pulling toward each other, you're breathing. And then release your hands to either side of the foot. Bend into the left knee a little bit, a little cushion bend, or a lot if that's where you are. Come up on your back toes this time here, shifting the weight into the left foot. We're gonna lift the right toes up off the floor. So maybe the leg comes hip height, maybe you're just happy to have it up off the floor for a millisecond, totally fine. Press through that heel, just like when we're on hands and knees. The hips are square. If the hands need to stay on the floor, leave them. If you can climb up on the thigh here, the chest parallel to the floor, the arms can stay supporting, they can fly wherever they need to be. Take one more big breath. And then release it into fold. If they're not already, take a little cushion bend into the knees. On an inhale, roll up through your spine. All the way back to standing. So, same idea on the second side. Nice big step back with the left foot. Short step back with the left foot. All 10 toes pointing forward, a little wider, right? Or a little closer together, more like a, not quite like a balance beam, that's a little too close, but you get the idea. Okay, bend into the right knee when you're ready, pressing out through your back heel. So the hips are square, shoulders, and we reach. Even and steady on the feet. Nice full breaths here. We'll interlace the fingers behind the back. Shoulders pull toward each other, knuckles reach away, and come forward. So maybe your belly touches your thigh and maybe not so much either way. Slowly, see about taking that right leg straighter. And then we'll release the hands. That little cushion bend back into the right knee or wherever it already is, right? Up on the back toes, lifting the left leg. So hip height if you can, off the floor counts. Hands on the floor if you need them to be, or we climb up on the thigh, one hand or two, and the hands either support or they fly where they need to be. Breathing, steady and strong. And then release that over into your fold again. And then this time, go ahead and step back to down dog. Let's drop on down to the knees and step back into a child's pose. So again, hands where they need to go. Legs a little more open maybe at this point if you're a little warmer. Or if you just need a bit deeper stretch there. Let's go ahead and make our way back up into down dog again. From here, we're going to step the left foot forward, come to lunge. And then take the hands and walk them around into the center of a straddle fold. Take a second here, make sure your toes point forward. And we want to feel even on the feet, so we don't want to rock into our heels or into the toes. We want to find that middle. Let your upper body hang here. So if you like a little bend in your knees for right now, that's fine. Let your upper body just rest. So hang your head, maybe grab the opposite elbow, and just be relaxed toward the floor. Four corners of the feet nice and strong into the mat. You doing okay? All right. So from there, if you need to bend your knees, certainly bend your knees. We're going to take the index and middle fingers, just like we did earlier, wrap them around your big toes here. Bend the elbows out to the sides. A little pull on the toes will draw you a little deeper into your stretch. And then we'll release the toes again. Take the fingers to interlace behind your lower back. Shoulders draw toward each other just like before, and then the hands stretch away from the shoulders. So maybe up off of your back, maybe not as much. But stretch your knuckles away so that your shoulders move away from your ears. One more big breath. And then release the hands. So I may move out of camera view. I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen next. I jinxed. From here, we're going to take the hands and we're going to walk forward. So we're going to let our hips come down like we do in plank. You can even let them come down a little bit more than plank so that they're a little saggy. Make sure your belly's supporting your lower back. If you feel your lower back here, don't come down so far. And then take your hands and walk them back in, lifting your hips back into this straddle fold. So let's do that again. Walk forward. Let your hips come low. And then walk back. Let's go one more time like that. Back into that straddle. So from here, turn your fingers around to point behind you. And if you're just happy to have your fingertips on the floor, no problem, right? Take your hands and walk them as far back as they'll go. So maybe between your feet is a big accomplishment. Maybe you're reaching well behind you. Make sure you stay really even on the four corners of your feet here. You don't want to lean into your heels and fall over on your butt at this point. Okay? So we're going to pull against the floor, bend the elbows, and see if you can drag your belly button between your thighs. Ish. And then we release the hands. Walk them back around toward your left foot here, lunge, and step back, down dog. Give yourself just a little wiggle here, shake all that out. And then we'll drop back down to the knees and sit back in child's pose again. So let's come to sit up on the heels here. And we're not going to be here for very long, so if this is terrible, don't worry. But we are going to be on the tops of the knees. So if you have carpeting in your house or a rug that you're practicing on, you might be okay. If you've got hard floors, like what I've got going on here, you might want a little extra cushion for your knees. Right? We're going to come up onto the tops of those knees. So make yourself as comfortable as you can. You don't want to get carried away. You don't want to be sinking into a pillow or something. but make your knees happy. So the tops of the feet can be flat to the floor back there. You can tuck your toes up under if that feels a little bit better for your balance, whatever you need. Little tuck of the tailbone so we keep the hips right over the knees. We don't want to be sagging backward or pinching the lower back for sure. No good. So lots of options with your hands. If you need some support with your lower back, then either side of the spine is totally fine. Or we're going to interlace the fingers like we were earlier. Draw the shoulder blades toward each other so the chest is open. And then reach your knuckles down towards your calves or your feet or however you see this. Lift up through your chest so you're creating space and you're probably in a little bit back bend here. If you want a bigger back bend, you tuck the tailbone more, you pull the shoulder blades closer together, you lift up and out of the chest to move a little bit deeper. You can always change your arms. If you need more sensation, maybe the arms out to the sides or the arms extended, you decide where you need to be. Feel the nice opening in the front of the body, keeping everything long back there, so don't let your head just flat back. One more breath wherever you are. And then inhaling, let's lift back to neutral. Go ahead and sit back on your heels. Give yourself just a little second here. If your knees pop like mine did, don't worry unless it hurts. Nice big breaths. And then we're going to make our way into one last down dog. So if you need to fix your mat, certainly fix your mat. Take yourself a nice big stretch to the backside here. Dropping down to the knees. Let's bring the legs around front. All right, so legs are extended. Inner thigh rotation here. Make sure you're feeling tall through your spine, your belly's pulled in. We're going to do a little twist here. So it can be simple like it was earlier, or we're going to incorporate the legs a little bit. So take your right foot, bring it to the outside of your left leg. If it won't be flat there, you can have it on the inside. That's not magic, just wherever. And then the left leg may need to stay straight to keep your pelvis level, but see if you can bend that knee and bring your heel in front of your right sit bone. You don't want to sit on it, right? We want the pelvis to be level and the spine to be tall. If that doesn't happen, just take this left leg back up. Take your left arm and wrap it around the leg, the right leg here. Right arm is behind the back, just like it was earlier. So right next to your bottom, push into the floor, sit really tall. Pull against the leg and rotate around into this little deeper twist. So remember, you can keep it simple. You can always take it a little bigger if you need. Let's take another nice big breath here. And I'm going to release that back to the center. Unhook the legs. And switch sides. So the left foot either flat to the floor or stepping over the outside of the foot, the right leg extended, or the heel in front of the left sit bone. So you make the adjustments that your body needs, of course. Upright on the pelvis, tall through the spine, wrap the right arm. Left arm behind the back. Press into those fingertips, sit extra tall. And then pull against the leg to make your way around. One more big breath. And then release that. Come on back to center. Unhook your legs. Adjust your seat, of course, again, if you need. Sitting up tall, let's stretch the arms up, folding forward. So let the hands fall where they fall, and maybe now it's your toes, maybe it's still not. Shoulders are back, keeping the chest open. Couple of nice big breaths here. And then inhale, make your way back up again. Releasing the arms. Let's take the feet flat. Hang on to your hamstrings, tuck your chin, and then roll on down to your back. Knees hug into the chest. Rock a little bit here. And then keep the knees hugged into the chest here. We're going to take the shins vertical. So it looks like your feet are stepping up on the ceiling here. And then reach up and grab for the soles of your feet. So maybe you're just happy to have your feet in your hands. Sometimes it makes the butt roll up off the floor. Put it back down as much as you can. And then keeping the shins vertical, pull down on the feet and see if you can draw your knees deeper in towards your armpits. And then let yourself just kind of wiggle around into that a little bit. Come center and pull down evenly on the feet. Draw those knees as deep as they're gonna get here. And then keep the arms pulling down. Use the feet to press back up into the hands. And like I said earlier, if your bottom kind of rolled up off the floor, see if you can turn your tailbone more toward the floor. So push and pull with the arms and the legs. Of course, your legs will win if you let them, don't let them. Take another big breath. And then we're going to release the feet and take them flat to the floor. Bring the soles of the feet together and let your knees fall open to the sides. Take one more breath here. And then bring the knees back together. Let's open our arms out into a T position. And you can adjust however you want to adjust here. So we're going to simply just let the legs fall over to the right. If you want to, you can shift your hips to the left first and then let your legs fall. Once you get there, the legs can stay bent. They can go straight. You can cross one over the other. Play with whatever variation that you like here. I'm going to take one more nice big breath. And then come on back to center. Take the second side, so the legs either just simply falling to the left, shifting your hips, crossing your legs, taking them straight, whatever variation you did on one side, ideally do the same on the other. And then we'll take one last breath here. Bringing the knees back up to center again. Hug the knees into the chest. Let yourself rock for a second. And then squeeze the knees in as tight as you can. Pull your forehead toward your knees, round up through your spine for a moment. Release that out into a full body stretch. And then release your stretch. Let your arms come back down by your sides. You can adjust so that your body is comfortable, whatever that looks like for you. So the body can remain extended on the floor. You can take your feet flat. If you have a bolster that you want to put up underneath your knees, if that makes your lower back happy, certainly go there. If you need to drop your head, anything that will make you comfortable. Once the body's comfortable, allow the body to still. So no more wiggling and fussing around. And since the body has nothing else to do at this point, allow your mind to come back solely to your breath. But instead of controlling it and taking those nice big breaths, just allow your breath to flow like it naturally does. And for just a few minutes here, allow your mind to stay on that breath. Simply observing the natural pattern, keeping the mind present and quiet. Giving yourself just a few minutes to rest. Or if you have the time here, you can stay as long as you like. Otherwise, begin to deepen your breath. Wiggle and stretch through the body. Gently allow the feet to come flat to the floor if they're not already. Roll yourself off to the side. Pause there. Keep the eyes closed. And gently make your way up to seated. Sitting tall here. Let's bring the palms together. Bowing your head to your heart. From my heart to yours. Namaste. Thanks so much for joining me today, you guys. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you took those little detours here and there and did what was right for you. Remember, you can find these videos here, or you can visit the Anyga Yoga page. Keep that Zoom or Google Hangouts or whatever they're calling it these days. Keep that in mind and give me some feedback if you're able to. I'd love to be able to actually participate with you. I mean, this is fun, but I'd like to see your beautiful faces and your practice and help if I can, because I know there's questions that come up. So please communicate with me and let me know what you think. And have a great week, you guys. Remember, inversions, I'm going to start that Monday. So if you're all about it, let me know. And I will talk to you later. Have a great weekend, you guys. I can't touch the screen here. Thanks, guys.
We're live on Facebook.